Have you ever wondered why sometimes things fail? Well, it happens to all of us. And in today's episode, I speak to an incredibly talented creative artist who, despite the success, also had some failures along the way. So you're going to love my conversation with wildlife artist James Corwin. Welcome to Casa De Confidence, a podcast for you. You'll hear some incredible women
and some awesome, cool dudes
going confidently in the direction of their dreams and living in the purpose of their heart.
You're our host,
Julie DeLucca-Collins, and you are our sidekick. # handsome hot husband.
That again.
And the producer of the show.
That I am.
I am an author, speaker, coach, dreamer, and most of all,
we help people go in the direction of their dreams
and support them on their purpose. So pull up a chair,
grab a drink,
and make yourself at home because our casa
is your casa.
Welcome back to another episode of Casa De Confidence. Me, Julie, that Dan.
Really?
I'm feeling very, what's the word? Frozen?
Frozen?
Yeah, I feel like I'm frozen.
You know what I got to say about that?
Oh, God.
Just let it go. Let it go.
Not planned, not scripted. This is how we're rolling this morning, boys and girls.
Are you excited?
For what?
Today's episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes, truly excited. You know, I love art, and I'm not an artist. I am an appreciator of artists. That's not true. I am an artist. I'm a podcaster, and that is an art. Being your wife is also an art.
What, in my life is art?
No. Being your wife is art.
Yes. Yes, it is art.
Yeah.
You know, I find that at my day job.
At your day
job. In aerospace. Wow, I'm having a hard time talking too.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of art and science also. You want to take the art out of it, so the science is just science.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain things, like I was doing something yesterday. It was a very complex thing I was building, but there was a little art to it. Yeah,
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about us getting a 9-month gig job in a ship?
On a ship?
Yes, a National Geographic ship.
Okay.
That travels to Antarctica.
Antarctica?
Yeah.
Weren't you just complaining about the cold?
I know, but I figure, rather than complain, I need to just embrace it. And what better way to embrace it than to go to Antarctica for 6 to 9 months?
I guess for an Antarctica, we don't have to worry about snow blowing the sidewalk.
If we're in a ship, we don't have to worry about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway. Sad thing is dogs can't come. So I think that's out.
Oh, then we're out.
Unless I go by myself and you stay with the dogs and my mom.
Really?
How would you feel if I left for 6 months?
The dogs would cry for 6 months.
They would not cry for 6 months.
Yeah, it'd be a couple days there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'd have to like show me the love.
Show you the love.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Bella? She was scared of you. When we first got Bella in 2012, she came from probably an abused home, and the weekend we got her was Dan's surprise birthday party when he turned 40. Good times at that party, by the way. I threw him a party. I was still living in New York, and Bella was so attached to me, was terrified of him, and I could not have dogs in my apartment in the city, so I left her behind with him, and she looked at me like I was murdering her, and I said, buddy, listen, you just have to make friends with him because he is going to be feeding you. And by the time I came back the following week, well, best friends. And she barely gave me the time of day. She was a papa's girl.
I miss Bella.
I know. She was a good girl. Sometimes there are certain traits about Junior that reminds me of Bella.
That's true.
The way that he plays with Yogi. He's sort of aloof, a chunker, loves to eat.
Bella did love to eat.
Yeah, that was the end of her life, though, because She had liver failure at the end. So that's why we need to watch Juju.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's happening in your life other than you aerospacing, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm working this weekend, so that's kind of a little different thing. So
it's a different thing for sure.
Well, working at work instead of working at Casa De Confidence.
Yeah, and Casa De Collins for that matter.
In Casa De Collins, yes.
Update in the bathroom, everybody. Not done.
It's not done. There's more tiles on the wall.
Sure.
We
have 17 more tiles to go. There's 17 tiles left.
I'm putting the tiles up there. I'm now at a point where I have to do custom cuts on the tiles. So, just a little at a time, and put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. If I don't get that bathroom done quick, I'm going to have to leave. It's going to kick me out.
Listen, I keep telling him that he can just let me do it and teach me how, and I will do it because I'm home and I want to get it done. Like, okay, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real. And this is not like, don't take this personally or don't freak out, people, but it is end of January, beginning of February. This is when my seasonal affective disorder is at its worst. I really struggle with this. And the fact that there is so much snow on the ground and we cannot get Dan's car out of the driveway. And now he is taking the one car that I could drive somewhere with my mom. Not that my mom wants to go out. It's keeping me in the house. Now, our dining room is off limits because, well, everything that, belongs in the bathroom, including the new vanity that's going to go in there, is in there. So I can't even walk into the dining room, much less into my Zen den, because that's another disaster. That leaves the living room, the kitchen, which is a disaster as well. And then the office, which also has an overflow of construction, and it's hard to stumble into the office. And then my bedroom, which I haven't even put away the clothes from Podfest because I cannot do laundry because there is our dryer is broken. So keeping it real, people, and this is not a dump on Dan, but I sat in the living room yesterday, and other than reading my phone and watching television, there's not much I can do. And I feel so overwhelmed by this. And this is where I have to dig into the tool shed of my brain and heart and figure out how to manage this. Okay, so I have my sun lamp. I am taking medication, and I need to move my body, which is so hard, especially one, because I can't do anything indoors because we don't have the space. And number two, because I really need to just put my shoes on and suck it up and walk outdoors, which will probably be the only solution and the solution that I need to do. So, how are you doing, Daniel? Anyway, this is why I have a podcast, because one, I want to normalize that, it's not everything is pretty and wonderful and fantastic, and real life hits all of us. And we're in a place in which we are going to hit these points where we need to sort of, one, understand what's going on. Number two, not spiral down. Number three, ask for help. And that was the first thing that I said to Dan this morning. I need help, because it would be so easy for me to just be mean and angry and passive aggressive and not ask for help.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway.
So what are we going to do different today?
I don't know.
You know what? You know what's a really cool thing? I mean, that's the thing you have to kind of do to dig yourself out. I'm not talking to you directly, but in general, is when you find yourself in these situations is doing something different. Finding something different to do, or finding something different to consume. And I think that actually ties into our guest today.
Sure.
And I think listening to or watching art and getting the fulfillment from something like art, because I think art is so important. And it's so incredibly important. You know, not to get into politics too much, but, you know,
it's not politics. It's the conversation and needs to be had.
Some politicians don't think that art is that important in schools, that music and art is, you know, it should be reading, writing, arithmetic. That's the way it was in the good old days. And that's the way it should be now. You know what? Art is so incredibly important to edify and feed your soul. You can feed your mind all day, but if you don't feed your soul, you're just like this computer I'm staring into right now, an empty box. It has cool stuff in it, but it's just stuff, and it has no soul. So that's what art does for us. It gives our soul that warmth. It gives our soul that edification.
Yeah,
and I guess that's my take on that.
Art.
And that's why music's so important.
Well, music is incredibly important. And by the way, if you have been listening along into the episodes at Brave Moves, you know that I talk a lot about some of the things that I am working on and the things that I am hoping that other people who are maybe struggling or need a little can kind of leverage. And yesterday we talked about, in yesterday's episode, we talked a little bit about being the fierce person in your life, embracing your fierce self. And, you know, the other thing that I talked about this week is, who are you without a story? And today's episode is capable doesn't mean doing it all, and how fierce women choose traction, margin, and clarity. And when I recorded that episode earlier in the week, I realized that I needed to really embrace this margin and not do it all. And this is why, you know, in times in which, you know, the bathroom is in disarray, the business needs to be run, I need to care for my mom, I need to remember that I can't do it all, and I need to pay attention to what Julie needs as well. And that's really important. And by the way, just to revisit what you were saying about art is incredibly important when it comes to our mental health, because it helps us regulate our nervous system, especially when you draw, paint, sculpt, write, create. Your brain shifts out of the fight or flight and into a calmer, more regulated state. And it also, you know, it gives your emotions somewhere to go, and it increases agency and control. But ultimately, it reconnects you with your identity. And mental health sometimes challenges will shrink when you have a sense of self and you know, and a sense of self to symptoms of survival. And art reminds you that you're more than what you're dealing with. You have imagination, curiosity, expression, and you're still you.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
That's the thing. The thing is, you know, there's the practical things in life that you need to do. And those practical things, you know, are important. But outside of that, practicality, I think that's a word.
Practicality,
you need
sure.
to do impractical things that gives you that self. That gives you that feeling of self and who you are. So whether you're an artist or an appreciator of art, a creative person, an entrepreneur, or someone who's ever just been told to be more practical, this conversation is for you.
Absolutely. And remember that we live in a world of constant noise, speed, and output. And art asks you to slow down, to feel, to listen. And, you know, that's not indulgent. It's not being lazy or frivolous. It's actually regulation, and that's care, and that's human.
And just like, what was the TV show we're watching again?
Bridgerton.
That's
right. Bridgerton is back, boys and girls. And Dan and I watched all 4 episodes yesterday.
This made me think of this yesterday because the middle brother, what's his name?
Benedict.
He's a bit of an artist, and then he was settling back into his art and exploring that, and helping to find his true self instead of just the party boy. And I don't want to give anything away, but looks like Benedict's gonna, might be his season. So anyway, enough of that. If you haven't
started Bridgerton, if you've never watched Bridgerton, what are you doing with your life?
I'm even watching it.
You're watching it as well.
Anyway, Julie, listener, go grab a coffee, take a breath, and settle in. Here's our conversation with James Corwin and Julie.
Welcome back to another episode of Casa De Confidence. Everyone, I'm so glad that you're joining us today, because in this episode, we have the privilege of speaking with an immensely talented person, James Corwin, a wildlife artist whose work is taking the art world by storm. James is a stunning painter of oil paintings. And I have to say, I was looking through his stuff and it was pretty cool. And James, overall, he merges fine detail with an abstract landscape to create emotive and evocative pieces that transport you into the wildlife, which he paints about. He is a conversation. I am struggling today, people. He is a conservationalist, and through his art, he is hoping that we can continue to support those wonderful, wonderful areas of the country and the world where we see some beautiful wildlife. So welcome to the show, James.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here.
Yeah, it's so great that you are here. And, I didn't stumble through your name, so I had to stumble through another word.
That's me.
A name that throws me.
No worries. You did great.
Yeah, well, thank you. I want to get into the heart of your journey and your inspirations and how, again, this is shaping the future of wildlife. But most importantly, let's talk a little bit about you and your journey as an artist. I can barely make stick figures. So anytime that someone has talent and definitely draws you in is someone that I admire. And you have transitioned from various creative endeavors to wildlife painting. Can you tell us a little bit more about the shift, and what is it about the painting that made you stick with it?
Yeah, I grew up in this little log cabin in the mountains. It was about 30 minutes from town and down this dirt road. And there was electricity, of course, but we didn't have internet or TV.
Wow.
And we were on 5 acres, but it butted up against a bunch of extra land. So my playground was the outdoors, and that's where I spent so much of my time growing up, and keeping myself interested and active by creating maybe like little fairy houses and stumps, or just
so cool.
Yeah, or taking like pictures of the birds, or I would capture little chipmunks that were in our wood pile, and I'd make them my pet for a day. So I was always interacting with the wildlife and finding ways to be creative. But I didn't know I could paint until I was in high school. A lot of people think, oh, you probably have been doing art since you were a little kid. And actually, no, I was more music inclined. I was playing the piano, writing music, and wanted to be a composer.
Amazing.
And also wanted to be an actor and all these other things. I was a creative person, but I wasn't drawing. And I took this class in high school, art class, and began drawing, and just really enjoyed it, and found that I had a talent for it, and received this art scholarship at the encouragement of my teacher to apply to, which took me to study it in college. And during those 4 years in college, I was painting on location, doing plein air painting, connecting with other artists, taking some workshops, a lot of self-teaching. And my focus was on landscape painting. And during the summers, I would create hundreds of these little tiny paintings on little canvases and on little easels. And every single one was different, but they're like really detailed paintings. And I would set up this table at the farmers markets on Saturday, and I would
how cool.
sell all these little paintings for for $20 a pop, and that was my summer job for a few years. So that
Very
taught
cool.
me, how to sell art and start creating a living off of my art. But also, I believe that's what really started to hone in the detail of my work.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are drawn to the detail, but I think that's from literally years and hours of painting so many tiny paintings over and over again. And so I, was still painting landscapes after I graduated college, but they weren't very good. At least I didn't think they're very good. And every landscape was different than the one before it. And it wasn't until I took a trip to South Africa and went on safari that it really rekindled my love of wildlife, because the wildlife over there is so different than what we have here in Montana. It's larger than life and just so inspiring, so extraordinary. So I took that inspiration home with me, and the first painting I did was a rhino painting. And back then, again, I felt like I didn't have any style or voice as an artist, and I was really focused on trying to create paintings that would sell. But at this point, I was like, well, nobody's going to buy a rhino painting. I'm just going to paint it anyway. But it ended up being the best painting that I felt I had ever painted. And it sold in less than 24 hours for more than I had sold a painting for.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, where did you put it up for sale?
On Facebook. That's where I was selling all my stuff. And
I missed out then.
I know. Facebook has been, and still is today, such a great resource for being able to connect with buyers. But anyway, so that's what really triggered the shift into painting wildlife. And I still struggle to paint a good landscape.
Wow. Well, again, stick figures are probably the best I get. And maybe that sunshine and, the mountains, because they're just wiggling on my page. But I did notice, and by the way, I think that in another life, I think I would have liked to have worked in a museum or in an art gallery. I love art, and I could get lost every time I go to, we have a beautiful Athenaeum here in Connecticut, and it's so gorgeous. And I don't go enough, but certainly one of the things that I notice is definitely that you have that precision in your art, and it feels very spontaneous. You developed it over time, or did you discover that it was something that came naturally to you?
Well, I believe it stems from that creative atmosphere that I put myself in as a young kid, of wanting to do music, wanting to act, wanting to make movies, be a director. And what it all boils down to is the need to tell a story that conveys an emotion. So when I'm crafting my artwork, it's like a movie, but I have a snapshot of that story that I need to bring all these feelings into that moment. Because my job as an artist is to create something that makes you feel something.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I don't want to just create a painting that is static. it just
Yeah.
to produce a product, to produce
Mhm.
something. And that definitely limits the amount of work I can put out in a year.
Yeah.
But each piece is thoughtful, and it takes me a while to
Mhm.
come up with that idea, but I'll ponder on, if I'm painting a moose, for example, what is this moose doing? What's
Mhm.
something that people have not seen before in a painting?
Yeah.
How is it interacting with the environment? And then what elements in that environment can I help propel this feeling,
Mm.
whatever that feeling is? Is it
Yeah.
going to be misty and moody? Is it going to be spring and more happy? And are there like little butterflies that the moose is interacting with, and to kind
Right.
of uh, create this more happy feeling? Or are
Mhm.
we looking for something more
Yeah.
subdued? So it is very much storytelling, which is what I love
Yeah.
about what I do.
Yeah. Storytelling is so crucial in any type of art. And I think that whether
Mhm.
you're a musician or
Oh
a
yeah.
painter or, and again, art is so subjective, but it's all around us. And I joke, right? I'm not an artist, but I do believe that in whatever medium we're using, like this podcast, this is my way of putting some art in there. I was
Yes.
looking at the Unduly Curious print, and
Mhm.
so cool. I mean, there's no other way, and especially if someone is listening. But I just kind of thought, I imagined sitting maybe in a campground and it's misty, and then all of a sudden the magic, if you've been camping, you know that there are little misty magical moments where all of a sudden
Yes.
you see wildlife come
Mhm.
close, and you can't help but to admire, right, the majesty of wildlife and the things around you. And we don't take enough time to appreciate it. But this is a great way for individuals that are bringing the outdoors in, and
Yes.
you're reminding them of what is possible, what could be out there. What's
Mhm.
been your favorite painting? Or I mean, that's like choosing from your children, right?
It's
Or
so
is
true.
there one in particular that maybe really pulled your heart as you were creating it?
Mm. Without sounding like a broken record on the rhino,
Yeah.
that certainly was one, because that rhino was
Yeah.
poached a
Yeah.
couple weeks after
Oh,
I left.
yeah.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like, so in a way that it
Mhm.
immortalized the painting,
Yeah.
immortalized
Yeah.
that rhino and its memory, and the
Mm.
title of the painting is In Memory.
Wow.
Or sorry, there was a second one I did of that same rhino called In Memory
In
after the
memory.
incident, but
Okay.
the first one is Roger the rhino. That was his
Ooh, that's a great
name.
name.
Yes.
But yeah, in memory, that's definitely evoking emotion, and I would imagine that that's
Absolutely.
what you're looking for when you're
Exactly.
creating art and you're bringing it onto the world. Now,
Mhm.
again, I believe individuals that are looking at your art are having an emotional response. What are some of the things that you hope the viewer takes away from your work?
Mm.
Because when you see someone standing in front of your piece, obviously, I would believe, at least for me, there's a level of nervousness. I hope they like it, but I also
Yes,
hope, like
right.
when I put out this podcast, I also feel like I hope they like it, but I like it, and
Mhm.
this is what I
Mhm.
want people to walk away with it. I wonder if that's the same for you.
Yes. I have moved many people to tears
Mm.
with my artwork. And for me personally, that is the greatest compliment.
Hmm.
And that, I know I'm being choosy on the emotional response, because somebody who feels happiness that is such an important emotion, and just as valid as somebody who's moved to tears.
Hmm.
But I can only relate because if I'm watching a movie or listening to music that personally moves me to tears, I feel like that was the greatest shift in my emotions and the greatest emotional response that could be pulled from me. right?
Yeah.
And so when I see somebody else who stands in front of my painting and just breaks down in tears, to me, I feel like I've done the greatest emotional shift
Yeah.
to that person.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned that you were in South Africa and you've traveled extensively. How do your journeys really influence? And, because I know that for me, traveling, experiencing other cultures and places definitely influences, my frame of mind and who I am as a person. But have there been specific experiences or places that have left a lasting impression that then in turn influence your art?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I've been back to Africa 5 times now,
Okay.
and a lot of the places I choose can be centered around a specific animal that I want to see.
Okay.
For example, it took me 5 times to go to Africa to see a leopard, and
Oh, okay.
I still really want to capture some images of full-maned lions. I still have not painted a male lion
Oh,
because I like to
that.
paint things that I've actually seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are places that I go to that are also to ground and center me and allow me space to think about my business and hopefully come to a more creative space again to recharge. And places like Costa Rica have been really great for that for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recently, I went to the Philippines and got scuba certified so that I could start exploring the world underwater. And
Ooh,
that's been such an incredible experience because that truly opens up an entire new world of
yeah.
animals and
Yep.
and things I never even knew
Different
existed.
universe. A
Oh
different
my
universe.
gosh, yes.
I don't scuba dive, but I have been snorkeling in
Oh, I
mainly
love
in
it.
Bahamas and Key West, and
Mhm.
every time I go, I think I should get scuba certified. My sister
That
is,
was me too.
yeah, my sister is, and then her husband, and then my other sister's husband is, and
Mhm.
but I just think there's so much beauty underneath.
Oh,
And
yeah.
last time I went, it was interesting because there were these beautiful, and I call them beautiful, jellyfish, but they were
Wow.
purplish, and then the sunlight, just the way that they were hitting them and kind of made them rainbow. Of course, I did get stung a couple different times, which was kind of annoying, but it was just so beautiful and worth it. So I
Absolutely.
love that. Now, my sister, who's married to the scuba diver, she doesn't scuba dive, but she is an artist and she's a painter.
Oh.
And I will tell you that I love her work, and not just because she's my sister. She started painting, I would say maybe 7 years ago, and she's incredibly talented, but she is not willing to let other people see her work. Although her art teachers have made her exhibit a couple of times, so much so that she's gotten offers for a lot of money for her paintings, and she has
That's
said
awesome.
no. And I
Interesting.
think, for you are combining your art with conservation efforts. And I think that
Mhm.
bringing, for instance, the wildlife or the ocean life, it's a really great way to remind individuals, right? The beauty
Mhm.
that it's around us and how we need to um, conserve, protect it.
Mhm.
And I'd love to hear, how you incorporate your awareness of the importance of conservation in getting that message across to people.
Yeah, it's so important. Like you said earlier, artwork allows us to bring the wildlife in
Mhm.
and remind us of the beauty that surrounds us
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
importance of protecting that in
Mhm.
our species. And I think it with all the digital noise that we're surrounded with every day, it can be easy to forget about
Yeah.
the beauty that surrounds us.
Mhm.
And as an artist, I feel very fortunate to be able to not only paint it, but also use my art as a means of fundraising for organizations.
Yeah.
For example, I am donating this large painting to this, it's called fundraiser organization. It's called the Yellowstone Forever, and it's Yellowstone National Parks organization for, protecting the space they have there. And so to be able to be asked to donate artwork and to be able to do so, I think is a gift, because these people gather, they bid on the art, they buy it, and normally it usually raises a lot of money for these organizations. And that's a way that I'm able to give. So I get a lot of requests throughout the year, and it's
that's
just a
pretty
great
cool.
opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, would you consider yourself an activist when it comes to protecting wildlife and making sure that we have this beautiful nature that is everlasting for our humans around us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being able to, when I travel, I love to travel to those eco-friendly places and eco resorts and lodges, because I want to be immersed in the environment as much as possible. My travel plans are very adventure oriented.
Yeah, I get it. I could travel with you. One of the most interesting places I went to was in Costa Rica, as a matter of fact. I stayed at the National Geographic. They have it's not a resort, it's a hotel, but it's at the foot of the Arenal volcano. And the scientists actually are in residence. So that's where they're doing a lot of their studies. And you can, as you're walking around, kind of talk to them. And that was very fun. I had a lot of fun in that trip.
Sounds amazing.
But I didn't stay there long enough. We only stayed there a couple nights because my ex-husband and I, when we traveled a lot, we like to see a lot in the very little. And so we fast, which always tells me I need to go back for more time to these places.
Me too.
Yeah, there's not enough time in the days or the years to go.
I know.
Now, where's your next trip?
I don't have anything planned at the moment. And as I'm listening, I'm thinking, gosh, I used to travel so much more.
Yeah.
And I need to again. I get so busy, painting and working in the day-to-day of the business. But I have to again remind myself that the traveling is very much a big part of what I do, and my source of inspiration.
Absolutely. Now, you have referred to what you do, not only as an artist, but you refer to it as a business. And I know that many listeners, perhaps, when they were growing up, they had a dream of being artists and were probably told, like I was at one point, you need to go into something that's stable, that makes money. And but I know many artists that are sustainably, and have a wonderful life. And, and how have you created, I guess, a sustainable business too, and created something that allows you to use your gifts, but also you charge for the beauty that you create?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a mindset. I think artists who want to create a career doing their art full time need to approach it as a business like any other business, and apply the principles and the right tools and the strategies to grow their business. And we as artists can be emotional because we are creating a product of ourselves and putting ourselves out there. And I know, like your sister, for example, who doesn't want to show their art to anyone, I can understand that aspect of art. But if you want to monetize it, it's just like really any other business. You're creating a product, and then you need to create the marketing and the story and the brand behind it. And then get enough eyes on it and the right people to see it, to
Right.
buy it. And it can be incredibly fulfilling, and any artist can truly have a very successful
Mhm.
career if that's something they choose to do. It just takes that.
Right.
I think we also can underestimate the amount of effort and time it will
Mhm.
take, just like
Right.
anything, but
Yeah.
it's certainly possible. And I really encourage a lot of artists, especially even the ones that I represent in my galleries, to really learn and
Yeah.
practice the business of it.
So good.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
But
do you teach them that? Or do you teach them some of the components of
I do.
making art their business? Because that's a wonderful opportunity also to expand your business.
Yes, yeah, I do. And
Yeah.
and I uh, a few years ago created a whole art business course
So
online, and
good.
I want to get back into it and update it because I've personally learned a lot
Mhm.
through the last few years. And um yeah, it is truly that can be valuable.
Yeah.
And I just moreover love being able to help
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
obviously, and again,
Well, and I
encourage
love that.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you worked with many collectors and formed friendships throughout the art world. Um, what is a personal connection that meant a lot in your career, and how does it influence your approach to creating and sharing your pieces with others?
Mm, that's a great question. I feel like these people come in and out of my life at different times. There's
Mhm.
different people
Yeah.
for different moments. And
Mhm.
and I also seek
Mhm.
mentors or people at
Nice.
different times of my life for
Mhm.
questions that I
Right.
have.
Right. Yeah.
And but I think what's so wonderful about being an artist is those relationships that
Mhm.
you develop, because the art being that emotional extension of myself, that product,
Mhm.
I'm sharing that with somebody who has fallen in love with that art piece, that experience.
Mhm.
And to be able to create a relationship with them around the artwork is a beautiful thing. And I
Yeah.
really try to develop strong relationships with my collectors, but
Mhm.
also people who are interested in my artwork,
Yeah.
my fans and followers, if you want to
Right.
call them
Yeah.
that. And I do my best to call them, at least several
Mhm.
people a day as I'm painting, to just have a conversation
Oh,
and
I love
let
that.
them know I'm still here and
Yeah. Yeah.
creating, a real person and not
So
just
good.
a
Mm.
face on a screen.
Absolutely. I think that, and again, in a business relationship, we look to nurture relationships and we're bringing value to somebody else. So it's important for them to also remember and be connected and feel that connection because as humans, that's what we crave. So, yeah, so
Exactly.
good. Oh, you're going to have to call me when you're painting.
Yes, I would love to.
That's so fun. That's so fun. Now, your career flourished from a young age. And again,
Mm,
it's been something that when you're looking back, what has been the biggest challenge you've faced in building a successful career and how did you overcome it?
mm. There's two things. There is the ability to focus.
Hmm.
There are so many distractions
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur that are thrown at you that seem like
Oh,
great
for sure.
ideas, and I've done a lot of them, and I've
Yeah.
taken those distractions and learned a lot through them,
Mhm.
which has been great too. Some
Yeah.
of them are very expensive, painful learning lessons,
Mm. Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
so being able to focus and stay in my lane, even in the style of art I do, and not trying to be deciding, oh, I love what that artist is doing, but I love what they're doing too, and I want to do that. And it's just like, oh, wait, hold on. I have to quiet the noise. And then also, I think personally too, every day I need to remind myself of where I'm at, how I got there, what I've been through, to find the happiness and the joy in my day. Because with those distractions, I don't know, I imagine other business owners or creative people can feel this way, but I get FOMO a lot.
Yeah. Oh, listen, you're speaking to someone who is attention deficit of oh shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get envious of what other people are doing, and I don't think I'm doing enough. And I can really just go on this downward spiral, and I have to, turn off social media a lot to not be affected by that. But, and if somebody isn't buying my art one day, and sales have gone down and then they're up again, it's just this roller coaster, and I just like, wait, hold up. Look at where you are.
Look at where you are. Yeah. I often talk about, I did a triathlon, and when I was swimming, I'm not a very strong swimmer, and it was in a pool. It wasn't even the ocean, but I got nervous watching as the more elite swimmers went first. And I remember freaking out, like, oh, I don't know, I could do this. I don't know, maybe I did the wrong thing. And my friend said, honey, those are the Olympic swimmers. We're not there. And it made me feel so much better. So then when I jumped in the water, I was going about my business and doing well until I looked over to see where somebody else was. And it slowed me down.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that we got to remember, that's how life is. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about the Olympic swimmers, or, don't look back to the people coming in behind you.
I know.
Yeah. So that's the challenge, I think we all.
It is. It is. And it's a challenge to, I don't know, stay happy and optimistic, which I love, nurturing a state of happiness, and however that looks, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah. Did I read correctly that you have a studio in Long Island?
Yes. Yeah. I'm headed out there in August.
Oh,
it's really cute. Long Island has the connotation of being very elaborate with the Hamptons and all that. And so it is on water.
Okay.
But it's been in the family literally since the 1500s. And it was a part of this larger estate, but this little cottage was built, it wasn't in the 1500s, it was later on. I can't remember when, but it was built on the most beautiful part of the property as an artist studio for one of the daughters. And there's this little iron sign off the side of the house that says the studio. And over time, all the parts of the properties have been sold off and everything, but this perfect little cottage has been in the family for these generations. And so that's where I go.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Well, you're going to have to keep us posted. I'm not far from Long Island.
Oh, really? So cool.
I'm in Connecticut. I used to live there, so.
Yeah, sometimes they take the ferry over.
Oh, you do? Yeah. The ferry is a good way to go. Summertime is probably one of my favorite times because I love to explore. And a lot of times, maybe I am going to the Cape or Martha's Vineyard, but I love to go to the galleries and to the, because there are people who are incredibly talented that I may never come across, but I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely.
So many things to ask. And looking back, has there been something that the biggest challenge that you face that has given you the best lesson as an artist, as an individual, as a business owner?
When I opened my second gallery location in Aspen, I spent a long time crunching numbers and doing all my research and risk analysis to make the decision on whether or not to open this space in Aspen and run it from afar, living in Montana. And everything aligned, and my gut said yes to doing this. All the numbers worked, so I did it. And what I did not estimate or predict was the amount of stress that it would cause in managing the employees and the sales cycle and the finances of the whole project. And I lost so many nights of sleep. I developed rashes that covered my entire body, and I had to go to the doctor and I had to get on like anxiety medications and things, all these things I've never experienced before. And after running it for a year, I realized the money's not worth the stress. So I closed it. But what I am so grateful for in the experience is understanding more of my character and what I am able to handle. And also, having gone through that, my pain threshold went up a lot. So now when I encounter difficulties in the business, they're not as hard as anything that I experienced before. And so it really taught me a lot of what I find a need to do to be fulfilled. And that was one thing that I thought I wanted. And I'm so glad I did it, because I realized I don't really actually need that. So
no, I hear you. I think that, sometimes we make a decision, we think it's a good idea. We had a client, and we knew from the beginning that, we could help. They were great, but it was just so much with not the right fit. And I spent a lot of time being so overwhelmed, like, oh, how can I please this person? And I'm not a people pleaser, but I was trying to make them happy. And then I thought, it's not worth it to have a client that creates this much anxiety, because I love what I do.
Exactly.
And I actually just said this to somebody yesterday. It's a TikTok influencer that I met in real life yesterday in my event. And we started talking. I mean, I was so excited to meet him that I don't know if you're in TikTok. His name is Bradley on a Budget. And he's
cool. I'll look him up.
Yeah, he's a minimalist, and he lives very minimal, and talking about always living in a budget. But anyhow, but he was saying how, I guess one of the videos that went viral, he really struggles because he got some really negative comments, and he has over 1 million followers. And I said, Bradley, we're never going to please everyone. We're never going to be everybody's cup of tea. And I think that's what we have to work at, is knowing that it's okay if we're not somebody's cup of tea. But it's hard, right? It's hard to have that, oh, maybe they can like me.
I know. And the same thing with, creating paintings. I'll create a painting that I think is amazing, and I'll put out there. I'm like, nobody's commenting on it. It's not selling. I'm like, what the heck? And then I'll create something that I'm like, this painting's not that great, but I'm so over it. And I just put it out, and people are like, oh my God, it's amazing. I want to buy it. I'm like, wait, what?
Art is in the eye of the beholder forever.
It's so crazy.
Absolutely. Now tell me, who has been the most or the strongest art influence on you? Or is there a period of art that you love the most? I'm curious.
I do love the French Impressionistic.
Oh, me too.
And that whole time period was so good. And also love Caravaggio.
Oh,
seeing his
yep.
paintings in Italy and
Mhm.
with his use of light, the
Of light. I was just going to
chiaroscuro.
say the use of light. Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah. Love that. Love that. Wow.
Me too.
So good. We have actually an exhibit.
Yeah.
They call it, it's an immersive exhibit of Van Gogh and Monet going on here. And they, I guess, project the paintings in the,
Yeah.
and you're as if you're walking inside the painting. So I'm going
So
this weekend.
cool.
I can't wait. I'm so excited because I
Absolutely.
love the Impressionists. That's my fave. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah. If only I could paint like that.
I know, right?
That'd be
Me too.
amazing.
Me too. Like I said, stick figures all the way.
Yes.
Oh, James, how fun. We've had so much fun getting to know you, to learn
too.
more about
Thank
your
you.
art. And I'm a fan. And you know, certainly you have a home here at Casa De Confidence. Anytime that you want to come
you.
back, you have an open invitation. If someone is curious, if someone wants to check out your art, can they commission something? How do they
Oh, yeah.
get your art in, or where do they see it? Give me some more of the details.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I have the original paintings and do commissions often for people if they want something specific. But I also like to keep my art affordable and available to anyone. So I do limited edition prints of
Nice.
a lot of my pieces and
Mhm.
or note cards. Some people buy
Wow.
the cards and frame them. Me too. And my website is jamescorwin.com, Corwin. And social media is James Corwin. Just type James
Yeah.
Corwin into Google and
That's right. And you come up right away. I went to find you on Facebook and I did. So I'm going to follow you on
wonderful.
Facebook. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
so exciting. Well, we're going to have all the information in the show notes. And I want to encourage you, my friends, if you're listening, art is such a wonderful way to really immerse yourself in the beauty of what can be and is out there. And in a world that there's so much going on, yeah, we need to find the beauty in the world. And artists like James are reminding us that wildlife must be appreciated and conserved, and go enjoy his paintings. I really love the work that he's doing. So thank you, James. And by the way, congratulations on the wedding in July.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
All right, everybody, don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Thanks for listening to Casa De Confidence. We thank you for listening, and if you want more, go to casadeconfidencepod.com. Check Julie out on her socials as Julie DeLucca-Collins. And you can also check out her website at goconfidentlycoaching.com. Have a great week, and don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.